Okay, what I wanted to do was record 3 videos here to go through the ETFs in alphabetical order. And what I'm going to do is make one video for everybody, which will just have a few symbols, just give you kind of a taste of what I'm thinking. That'll be the first 6 symbols, and that's this video. Then I'll make another one for bronze and silver, which will have another 9 or 10 symbols or so. And then the third video will just only be for gold and platinum, and that'll have all the rest, which would be like 20 more. So as I said, there's nothing magical about the order except it's alphabetical. And so let's get started with the top with D. I follow 39 ETFs on a daily basis, and I thought given what happened last week, particularly on Friday, it was well worth a review. And I would just say one bit of caution here. And the caution would be in the form of this post that I dug up from September 20, which you might want to look at. And the thing is that this post has a lot in common with what happened on Friday. There's a lot of new gaps. There is a welcome relief to the long-suffering bears that a drop finally took place. There's the prospect of more drops forthcoming. And instead, this is pretty much the bottom for until like now. And I'll point out September 20 in a little later on with some other charts, but it's worth reflecting upon a relatively recent event in which we also had a VIX explode from like 14 to 28, and we had big drops all over the place, especially in energy and so forth. Now, what we've seen recently, what we've seen over the past 1 or 2 weeks is more dramatic than what happened back on September 20, but it's still, there's a tremendous amount in common. And I think looking at a post like this might temper one's zeal for kind of what might be coming. So having said that, getting back to the ETFs, we start off with DBC. And if there's one theme that's going to be consistent through these videos, is that Monday is primed for a bounce, and we'll see. As I've told my paying members, I'm going to win, and I'm guaranteed to win and lose on Monday, no matter what. Because in one of my accounts, I'm actually bullish short-term December options, and the other one I'm bearish, but those are January and February options. So I'm positioned both ways. So I'm going to be happy and sad no matter what happens. But I definitely have a certain timetable for those things to transpire. If we go plummeting immediately on Monday, well, that's a different story. But as we look at DBC here, you can see even at this great distance, what a tremendous drop took place on Friday alone. And that was, remember, over the course of a mere half trading day. It was only open in post-holiday trading, which is usually absolutely dead. But it wasn't dead on Friday. So there's plenty more to go. If we're going to head all the way to the channel, but it seems completely plausible we could have a bounce on Monday. And I'm already seeing the chatter on headlines about, oh, this Omicron thing isn't so bad, and we're going to figure out a vaccine, and the symptoms aren't that bad. So there's a lot of, and Goldman Sachs rushing out saying this is really overblown. So you're already getting the Band-Aids over the weekend about how this is really just no biggie. Here are the diamonds. And we zoom in on this, and just to point out, September 20 on this chart was right here, this bar. And you can see, and I'll just draw horizontal just to make the point, you can see how that was also kind of a big deal at the time. It fell hard for one day and stopped, and went just zipping right higher. And that was basically the low point for the year, pretty much, and just went roaring higher from there. So the gap we saw on Friday was somewhat bigger, but it's still very similar in terms of the fact that we had this kind of rounded top and a big dramatic gap down. So keep this in mind. It's, you know me, I'd love to see this just fall to pieces, but we've sort of seen this movie before. Another reason for bounce here is the fact that the overseas markets are getting really, really battered to levels that would suggest prospectively support. We didn't tag the trend line or anything, but let's face it, present price levels are far closer to the support of this channel than resistance way up here. This is also illustrated very nicely with EFA. You can see here we've done this nice sort of sine wave here, up and down, up and down, up and down, and look how close we are to the lows we've seen again and again and again, which have represented support. Mexico, EWW, which I declared I was very bearish on right here. And then it pretty much just plummeted, but I went ahead and got out. It's fallen quite a bit, and the ideal place, the jumping up and down excitement place for a retrace would be right there, that gap. Just to beat the dead horse about September 20, though, those gaps didn't matter. Those gaps were all sealed and quickly forgotten. One last one for everybody, and then I'll move on to video number 2. This is EWZ, which I am long as of Friday, because this thing has been a complete disaster for months. And I was looking at what was going on Friday, and with all the selling and all the drama and all the mayhem, not only did it not take out the week's low, it was down really just a little bit, not even 1.5%. So it's sort of like they couldn't sell it off anymore. It was already beaten. And so it seems to me there's some basing going on here, and it would be completely plausible to fight back to this gap. So I'm long EWZ, I'm long GLD, and also the small caps IWM. All right, that's it for video number 1. I will move on to the second one for all the pain folks.